Recently, Forbes magazine named Greenville, South Carolina as one of the greatest places to retire in the United States. Now, of all the places that folks can move to in retirement, is Greenville really the best place that someone can choose to retire to? That is the question that we are going to be answering in this video today. In this video, we will discuss why Greenville is so desirable, why it should be a place that you put on your radar, and why after you visit, you'll probably want to stay. Oh, and of course, at the end, we're going to talk about some real estate. Let's do it. As always, my friends, my name is Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the Upstate of South Carolina. And it's our goal with this channel that we are your #1 resource for all the things that you need to know about your relocation to the Upstate. We aim to provide you with the most relevant, the most reliable, the most practical, and the most data-driven information that you can find or can't find on the internet. And if you do decide to relocate to the Greenville area, I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with. So please do me a favor, email me at my email below or shoot me a text at my cell phone number below. I would love to chat with you here soon. While the Forbes article featured 25 of their most coveted retirement spots in the entire country, Greenville was the featured city in the article. It highlights how inexpensive our housing market is here, and while that is somewhat true relative to the rest of the country, that's not the only reason why our area is so desirable. Take it from me, as someone who relocated here 7 years ago, Greenville has changed quite a bit during that time frame, and I love living here still. Greenville has a strong job sector, and 1 in every 2 people who move here are over the age of 50. So Greenville is not only a great place to live, work, and raise a family, but it's also a great place to retire. So let's go over a few reasons why you should consider retirement or your next phase of life right here in Greenville. So first up, let's talk about Greenville's relatively low cost of living. And first, we'll talk about taxes here in South Carolina, and specifically in Greenville. So in South Carolina, #1, you pay no Social Security tax, and 2, you get up to $15,000 of retirement income deductions per person per year on your taxes. And there's an affordable graduated income tax scale from 0 to 6.5%. Most of the folks will fall in that 5 to 6.5% tax bracket. Additionally, if you're over the age of 65 and you've been a resident for 1 year, you can qualify for the homestead exemption, which is acknowledged here in South Carolina, and that will cut a significant amount of your property taxes off of your tax bill at the end of the year. On average, folks will pay $2,200 to $4,000 per year in property taxes, and leveraging the homestead exemption will provide you a huge savings each year. Moreover, sales tax in South Carolina is 6%, and Greenville County adds a 1% tax to that, totaling 7%. But it's interesting to know that on things like groceries or prescription medications, there is no additional sales tax that Greenville County charges. And next up, let's talk about housing costs here in Greenville. So housing costs here in Greenville are lower when comparing it to comparable states and even other parts of the state of South Carolina, like the Low Country, where Charleston and Hilton Head and Bluffton are. And many of my clients actually do think about relocating to these areas as well, so it's important to note. As of the time of this recording, the median home price in our area is about $314,000, and the average sales price is about $387,000. The median sales price for a home in the United States is a staggering $417,000, and the average sales price is roughly $500,000 as of the time of this recording. So essentially, you can buy a lot more house for a lot less here in our area. And you might be wondering, well, is the housing market healthy in Greenville? And if you go and watch the last video that we did last week, which you should do after you watch this video, you'll understand that it's doing quite well. In 2025, home sales are up roughly 9% year over year, and prices are up about 5% year over year. And then what about gas prices? So gas prices now are around $2.50 per gallon, making it much more affordable than many other parts of the country. And then we have things like healthcare. Well, Greenville is stacked with healthcare providers. Prisma Health is the state's largest and most comprehensive provider and is headquartered here in Greenville. Bon Secours is a household staple in Greenville, and it has been for a long time with a great local reputation. Spartanburg Regional, which has a level 1 trauma center in their hospital there in Spartanburg, has a foothold in the county of Spartanburg, as well as multiple clinics throughout the upstate, but primarily focusing on Spartanburg. And now Novant Health is coming to Greenville to compete with the likes of these major hospital systems, Bon Secours, Prisma, and Spartanburg Regional. They will be opening a 20-bed hospital right off of Pelham Road in the Patewood Medical Complex, and they're also going to build a 100,000 square foot healthcare and office building in the same area. Novant Health is one of the Southeast's biggest providers, and they have more than 900 locations with 19 hospitals and other facilities throughout the Carolinas. Specialty and everyday clinics are scattered about the upstate, with Prisma being the largest provider, and recent clinics have opened up in the Cherrydale area, Travelers Rest, and there are plans for another clinic to open up near Five Forks, and of course more in these rural areas as well, once you start to get 30, 45 minutes to an hour away from downtown Greenville. And what about amenities in Greenville? That's important. So first up, let's talk about the parks in Greenville. First of all, there's Unity Park with playgrounds for the grandkids, and there's the Commons at Unity Park where you can go and grab a bite to eat once you're done hanging out in the park. My favorite taco place in all of Greenville is Automatic Taco, located right there in the Commons. And my favorite coffee shop, which I have talked a lot about, is Methodical, which is also there in the Commons at Unity Park. And a barbecue place called Moo Hogs that recently opened up in the Commons is getting a ton of stellar reviews. And then there's Falls Park, which is the staple park in downtown Greenville, where Reedy Falls is, where the Liberty Bridge spans over the Reedy Falls. This was the first major park in downtown Greenville, and this is what you probably see pictured most when you see Greenville on the internet. And next up, let's talk about events throughout the year. You're not gonna be bored if you live in Greenville, and if you enjoy getting out and going to events, then Greenville could very well be a place for you. We have the Peace Center, which hosts Broadway shows throughout the year, and many concerts with touring artists right downtown Greenville. We have Artisphere, which happens every May, which has been named the best art festival in the entire country. We have Fall for Greenville, which is in the fall, and this is Greenville's biggest event throughout the calendar year. And we have Euphoria, which is a wine and food festival celebrating culinary diversity and richness here in the upstate. There are multiple farmers markets open in Greenville, Simpsonville, Greer, Travelers Rest, and other towns throughout the upstate during the spring through the fall for you to enjoy, including the TD Farmers Market, which is downtown Greenville and is by far the biggest farmers market that spans throughout the spring through the fall, right there in downtown Greenville for you to enjoy every Saturday morning. And not to mention, we are only about an hour away from the Blue Ridge Mountains. So, if you wanted to go and enjoy a hike at, say, Triple Falls one day, or go hike at Table Rock State Park, or go hike at Paris Mountain State Park, or go and walk in Conisty Nature Preserve right outside of downtown Greenville, or go and sit at Pretty Place, which is a very popular tourist and locals destination, you can do that all in a morning or spend the whole day doing that within an hour or 2 hours drive of Greenville. And then we have the Swamp Rabbit Trail. Of course, I'm sure you've heard about the Swamp Rabbit Trail. This has helped catalyze Greenville's growth over the last 25 years. This 28+ mile trail is where you're going to find walkers and cyclists and runners, or just folks who are looking to get out and about on the evenings and the weekends. It's a great trail system that spans from Travelers Rest to Conisty Nature Preserve. And over the last 5 years, several extensions have been added to the Swamp Rabbit Trail, making it much more accessible to a lot more people. There's also the Saluda Rail Trail that is being built from northern Spartanburg into western North Carolina. That is going to be even longer, supposedly, than the Swamp Rabbit Trail as well. Now, I get asked a lot about food in Greenville, and if you love going out to eat on the weekends, you can basically spit and it'll land on a good restaurant downtown. There's too many to mention them all, but a few are the Lazy Goat, there's Endaco, and there's Scoundrel, which is one of my favorites right there in downtown Greenville. Outside of downtown Greenville, there's Stella's Brasserie in Verde, there's Olympian Grill in Five Forks, as well as one of my favorite lunch spots, Upcountry Provisions in Travelers Rest. And there's also one of my favorite lunch spots in Simpsonville called Farm Fresh Fast. So last but not least, let's talk about some real estate here in the upstate. And of course, we have to make mention of real estate so you can start to understand our local market here. Like I previously mentioned, the average sales price for our area as of the time of this recording is just under $400,000, and you surprisingly can buy a lot of home for that price. I was meeting with some folks from Florida this morning, and they are looking for a home in that $350,000 to $400,000 range, and you'll find both resale and brand new homes in this price point. So let's break down different areas around Greenville by price range and criteria. So, let's say that you want to buy a 3-bed, 2-bath minimum, say 1,800 to 2,400 square foot ranch or ranch with a bonus room. You're gonna find inventory in places like Simpsonville. You'll find some inventory on the east side of town, and you'll find inventory in Malden, Five Forks, and Fountain Inn. Now, if you're a buyer looking in the $400,000 to say $500,000 range, you got a little bit more money to spend, then more inventory is certainly going to open up on the east side of town, as it has been a more expensive suburb than the others previously mentioned, and you might start to see opportunities opening up downtown. Now, once you hit the $600,000 price range and up, your inventory options open up pretty much anywhere depending on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for an amenity-driven, retirement-focused community, then Del Webb is opening up a community on the southern part of Greenville later this summer. They haven't released pricing, but there are going to be 3 tiers of plans they are bringing. The lowest tier, if I had to guess, will likely start in the low 400s, and that highest tier is probably going to start in the 600s, maybe the $700,000 range. There will be all of the amenities that you can expect in the Del Webb community: walking trails, a clubhouse with a gym and gathering areas, pools, pickleball courts, and more. This is the first Del Webb community in the Upstate, and if you want exclusive access to pricing when it comes out, reach out to me at my email below, and I'll be sure to send you all of the information that I have when we have our pricing webinar at the end of next month. And finally, if you are a luxury buyer in the price point of over $800,000, then inventory is going to be abundant pretty much anywhere for you. Places that I would personally check out if I were looking in this price point would be first downtown Greenville, the east side of Greenville, the Cliffs communities in the mountains, and maybe even Lake Kiwi. We have a number of videos on each of the former areas mentioned, so be sure to check out those videos on the channel as you start to gather more information about Greenville. I hope all that information was helpful in determining if you should retire to the upstate of South Carolina, and if you are thinking about making that transition as you enter into that retirement stage of life, please do me a favor, email me at my email below or shoot me a text at my cell phone number below. I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with here in Greenville and on Lake Kiwi. As always, my friends, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate, and until next time, stay safe. Well, this video is going to be a about Greenville County, the upstate of South Carolina. Great thing to do and easily in the evening. I'm a local real estate expert here in the area. All the time, we're right behind me is a really cool place called Freight Yard.